you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a board member of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? The answer is, I do. You do. Congratulations.
Mr. Osborne, would you have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mrs. Video.
Here.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Here.
Mr. Cott. Here. Mrs. Matthews.
Here.
And Mr. Thomas.
Here.
Following on the agenda is the nominations for president of the school board for 2016. Is there anyone who would care to nominate the president?
I nominate Mr. David Lacott.
A second. It's not necessary to second it, but you can. Is there any further nominations? Then I have a motion to close.
We can just go right into
Go right in. So you don't have to have a motion? Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. Cott.
Aye.
Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Thomas.
Aye.
Mrs. Video.
Before I cast my vote, I wish to express to the audience and to my fellow board members why I'm voting the way I am. I had hoped that the newly elected board members who ran on returning openness and cooperation to this board would have done so. But it doesn't seem that when they have chosen to meet together without notifying another member or members of this board to discuss their strategy for this organizational meeting and leaving us as incumbent members in the dark. That is why I'm going to vote no.
May I answer that? Okay, I don't really think that there's been anything behind anybody's back. You didn't call me, I didn't call you. We're not supposed to, according to whatever. And I really think Mr. LaCotte, this is a new regime. We've got a new superintendent, and I think Mr. LaCotte will be a fantastic president.
I have no problem with cooperating with the new board members, but I believe that they should have, because they were not sworn in yet, that they should have at least had the courtesy to keep us in the realm of what was going on. And that wasn't done so, and whether you know it or not, Pat, yes, they did. All right, we will go further. We will swear in the new president.
You, David Lacott, as board president, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as board president of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified. The answer is,
I do. Sounds good. We have a motion to, we're gonna jump to agenda item 4. We have a motion to adopt the agenda. Second. The motion was moved by Ms. Matthews and seconded by the gentleman to my left. Okay, then we're going to move. Roll call. Sorry, roll call.
Mr. McCott.
Yay.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Baddio.
Aye.
And Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
I would like nominations for Vice President of the Board for 2016. Do I hear a nomination for Vice President?
I would like to nominate Lisa Johnson Byers. I know we did not talk about this behind anybody's back, so I just thought that Lisa would be a good vice president for them.
Are there other nominations? Hearing none, I would like a motion to close nominations. Okay, would you go ahead? Roll call. Great. Roll call.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Baddio.
No.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers. Aye. And Mr. McCott.
Aye.
Lisa Johnson Bowers, as Board Vice President, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as Board Vice President of the Board of Education of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District, Summit County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office until your successor is elected and qualified. The answer is I do. Congratulations.
So we'd like to move to agenda item 8, meeting dates and times. This is a motion to establish regular meeting dates and times for 2016 as presented in Exhibit 1.
So moved.
Second.
Let's go with Mrs. Betty and a second for Mr. Toppin.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Baddio.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. McCott.
Aye.
And Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Agenda item 9 is the service fund. This is a motion to approve board service fund for $20,000 in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 3315.15. Roll call. Motion, I'm sorry.
So moved. Good.
Second.
Second.
Roll.
Mrs. Baddio.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. McCott.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Item 10 is to authorize the treasurer to obtain advances against tax collections as prescribed in Ohio Revised Code 321.24 from the county auditor in order to meet current expenses as presented in Exhibit number 2. Got a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. McCott.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Baddio.
Aye.
Agenda item 11, standing authorizations. May I have a motion to recommend the standing authorizations be approved for the calendar year as listed in your agenda? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. McCott.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Baddio.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Well, that concludes our organization meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We are adjourned. Yeah, roll. Sorry.
Yes, we were staying.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of Tuesday, January 5th, 2016 at 7:12 p.m. Roll call.
Mrs. Clevio.
Here.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Here.
Cott.
Here.
Mrs. Matthews.
Here.
Mr. Tom.
Here.
Move to adopt. I'd like a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a presentation tonight, so I'm going to, we have to vote, I'm sorry, is this whole voting? I apologize. Let's vote.
Mrs. Clevio.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. Cott.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Tom.
Aye.
Okay. At this time, we have a presentation, so I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Brett.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like Will Litton and Tom Martin to come up from FlexSmart. They're now going to give us an update on the House Bill 264-153 project that's been going on for a year and kind of fill us in on what's been done, where we are, and where we're still going.
Great, appreciate it. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, board. Appreciate the time to speak tonight. I promise I'll get through this before the computer automatically restarts for updates. First of all, I want to apologize. I still get used to 2016, so I did not yet have the dates accurate. Still on 2015 right now on my presentation. But for some of the new board members, we started working with the district just shy of a year ago now, taking a look at the energy efficiency of the district, of the buildings, based off of a 5-year facility master plan that the district provided to us, and some of the goals that they have to improve over that. So for some of you new board members, I think the first slide is just a quick recap of what we've been working on in the district over the past about 6 to 7 months. The first is LED lighting district-wide. You may have noticed that some of the buildings that you can hear in the board office, floor space, the library, will require deliveries are LED tubes that we have currently in there. Exterior lighting was just recently actually upgraded on the parking on their way out. The new fixtures and just put up a little break. But again, we did LED lighting district-wide. We worked on steam distribution. And the steam distribution ECM was mixed between working on the distribution system at 6 of the elementaries, along with doing a boiler upgrade here at the high school. I'll get more of that on individual slides. Controls upgrade, so for the energy management system for the HVAC controls, which has been implemented district-wide and still ongoing. We have a few buildings left to complete time and fully. Some of the smaller ECMs, air compressor controls, more of the shop air compressors. Windows. We did windows at 6 of the elementary schools. Lakeview, including Kimpton, so Lakeview, Kimpton, Echo Hills, Highland. There's one window that was left from the last time they did the light window upgrades, so we did that one. Lakeview, as I mentioned before, Indian Trail, and I believe that might be kitchen hood controls. Here are the kitchens at the high school. I apologize, this is me. Is that better? Here at the high school, there's some kitchen hood controls. And then obviously, as you can see, total the project within the House Bill 264 and House Bill 153 portion is a little over $4 million. In total, it's going to save about $355,000. What this means to you guys, it reduces the electric power consumption by 24%, reduces natural gas consumption by 19%, reduces the energy cost per square foot from $1.20 down to 91 cents a square foot, and it addressed 81% of the energy-related items of district facility master plan. In addition, savings are required to be guaranteed by the state. So you guys know the report will be submitted to the state every year for the next 3 years to their engineers. And they'll be reviewing it to ensure that these savings are materialized. So let's give you guys an update on the lighting first. A number of pictures there of various spaces. Some of the most noticeable really are maybe your gym spaces and your common spaces. When you look at pictures like this, a lot of it's kind of behind the scenes, behind the lens of you too, so they'll look to see. But if you go into gyms or if you guys attend a basketball or volleyball game this winter, I encourage you to look out for new lights. I know we've got positive feedback from a lot of teachers, other coaching staffs, other people like that. Again, exterior lighting, I get a chance to get a look at those. And then again, throughout pretty much the entire high school, we have retrofitted fully LED. As you can see, the high school is about 90% complete. We have a couple of spaces, auditorium, and smaller random spaces Kington's 95%, Lakeview 95%, Highland 100%. And as you go down through, we're pretty much equal to 95%.
Just one comment on the lighting retrofit. You'll notice this room has been retrofitted, so there's really three key parts of the lighting retrofit. One is the energy savings by changing out a fluorescent lamp. The lighting world calls them lamps. We all call them bulbs. But changing the lamp out from fluorescent to LED technology is what drives the energy savings. But there's two other parts of it that I'd like to emphasize, and one is the physical look. You'll notice there is a difference in the lighting level or the lighting crispness. So that's one additional benefit to changing out to LED lighting. The third one, and less obvious one, is how this technology was installed. Under the old technology, there was a device, an electrical device called a ballast that regulated voltage and current to the lights. Through this retrofit, that device has been removed, and thus the maintenance of that, the longer ongoing maintenance of that is now gone for the district. So that's sort of one of the hidden benefits of changing out to what we call a direct wire LED tube retrofit. So three things: the color or the lighting levels, the energy savings, and then that inherent maintenance cost that now disappears for the district.
To an outside visitor as well, I just wanted to address that if you're not a resident of that building, you may not think that the lighting has been changed because some of the fixtures themselves look the same. But if you happen to be a teacher in that classroom, you definitely notice the difference. And so I wanted to make sure that people understood that it may have those graded ones, and those look terrible. But the lighting system inside of those are actually correct.
Essentially, the guts.
The guts.
Yeah, if you want to look at it that way. As far as compared to a lighting replacement, it was a lighting retrofit with the two cells, and that gives you the best bang. Next slide here, the boiler plant and steam trap update. We installed a new boiler plant here at the high school, taking advantage of both non-condensing and condensing boiler technology. What that means to all you guys, prior to us installing the new boiler plant, 140-degree water was the lowest temperature of water that would be discharged from the boilers without causing damage. And that's in a non-condensing boiler system. It's just an inherent system. And it can cause damage and drop below that. So what we installed was two non-condensing boilers to replace those, and then one condensing boiler. And the condensing boiler is very advantageous in what we call shoulder months. Shoulder months would typically be when there's temperatures between 30 and 55 degrees. As you can imagine, if you're at 55 degrees, you're trying to get up to 68 or 70, 140 degrees, you're come through a classroom and get it out. And sometimes overheat spaces, create some hot rooms. It's also not very energy efficient. The current new boiler that we installed, the condensing boiler, can drop all the way down to 90 degrees. So when you're on a 55-degree day, you can push out 90-degree water and give you the space just what it needs to get up to 70 degrees without overshooting, without overheating. So again, we've already seen savings from this as this boiler plant was installed over the summer and has been firing since early October. Also, as part of the original plan, we were going through the steam buildings, and we were planning on doing a steam trap audit and replacing only the failed traps. Early on in the process, it was determined, especially in the classroom spaces, unit events, different areas such as that, that we would actually do a complete 100% repair of all the steam traps in the steam building.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said you put a new boiler in the high school, but has the Highland situation been addressed
Island boiler.
with the boiler?
Are you referring to the age of it and replacing it?
Well, fixing it.
We, unfortunately, when we do a House Bill 264 project, we're always stuck with the savings and what's available, what's able to fit. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get every single ECM that we wanted to. The state is very strict on the savings guidelines as well as what we can make it fit, because it has to fit with financing. Again, so unfortunately, we weren't able to do any upgrades to the high school boiler itself as part of this project.
But you will be able to do the steam traps and the steam controls?
Yeah, we're doing all the steam traps in the classroom spaces. Again, that was supposed to originally be an audit, and only replace the failed one. We decided to replace all of them. And then there's some of the more ones that are in a couple of common spaces we're going to do an audit over the summer or over the winter here. Determine which one to replace those.
Just to build on that, Mark Fritz was a big ally in helping us decide how to proceed with that scope, and we wanted to thank Mark. When we originally proposed the job through the House Bill 264 legislation, and the intent was to do a steam trap audit, but we also realized that as winter came, in order to do a steam trap audit, you have to have the heating system fully functional. And so there was sort of a tension there with, do we wait a whole nother season to try to troubleshoot the steam system first and then come back during the summer, late in the spring and the summer to retrofit it? So we collectively made the decision to go ahead and replace the steam traps in all the classrooms of the 6 elementary schools. At the same time, we were doing some other control upgrades in order to accelerate the process and accelerate the House Bill project itself, so that the district would start realizing more gas savings for when those steam boilers fired this winter versus waiting till next winter. And even though our clock doesn't start ticking until the job is complete and the administration signs off on it, the district will be the beneficiary of some additional savings this winter because of that intent to go ahead and retrofit those out rather than wait and only replace the ones that had failed or we surveyed that weren't in good shape.
Controls update. We've begun the installation of the new BACnet, which is a non-proprietary electronic control system. Here this past few months, actually, just recently. And we have all but 3 of the buildings pretty much on board. There's some final graphics interfaces that we need to develop. But as you can see at Lakeview, Highland, Woodland, Riverview, Echo Hills, and Fifth Street, we converted over to the new DVC control system. It's a big difference from the old pneumatic systems that you guys used to have in the buildings. They can be very costly, both from a maintenance standpoint as well as just they're also limited in the strategies that we take advantage of for the control. The final 3 schools will be high school, Kimpton, and Indian Trail. Those are going to be completed here both now and over the next few months as we continue to implement them. And then training / will be also commencing with the staff at the buildings that are already complete, as well as the new buildings as they come online, including the closeout training will take place at the end of it. Again, the new controls have already allowed Mark Fritz and the staff and the administration of the district to discontinue part of the service agreement that was required for the pneumatic system, that if it were to fail, you need to have an emergency service agreement in place to be able to take advantage of that, obviously get the buildings out of heat. So again, there's already been savings associated with it from that perspective. And then as we move forward here, to work out the bugs of any new system, what we did is we have everything set at a flat temperature, and we're going to bring each ECM strategy and energy saving strategy online one by one to ensure that each one's working properly prior to just throwing all of them in there at the same time and trying to figure out exactly if there is a bug.
Will, can you address some of the hiccups that have happened? We've got teachers in some buildings that, I think Mrs. Polly had one day her classroom's 95 degrees, we come into the high school today and the boiler's not running. Explain why some of the hiccups are happening.
With any new system, occasionally it can be a bug. With the new system, you need to go through and tweak the program, you need to make some changes. I know some of those rooms that are getting extremely hot, a lot of times were one of a couple things. One, it could have been one of the failed steam traps, one either hadn't been replaced yet, or it could be tightened out, or releasing steam. Also, a couple times, if there's switches that are on each one of these unit vents, if the switch does get turned off, unit vents are designed here, and you switch those flips off, flip the switch off, the control valves fail open to ensure that the boiler doesn't freeze. But when it fails open, it means you're getting 100% hot water flow through the unit vent and also over these space. Now that we have the control systems, we have remote access that was just recently gained work with your IT department. Now that we have that, we'll be able to log in and much more quickly determine and be able to troubleshoot any issues we have in spaces like that. Just had one day where there was a space on it at about 80 degrees, and it was quickly realized that the switch had been turned off, the switch went down. And then went to high school with the boiler plant today, there's the high school. Still troubleshooting that, but yeah, so far we haven't really had any issues with the high school boiler. And then this morning it did not come on initially, which is troubleshooting going through exactly what the issues were with that. But unfortunately, one staff got on site, was a backup, and came over temperature.
So regardless of whether it's doing the same things, just happen anyways at that time.
What's that? Even the
The same, oh my God, it's too hot, it's too cold.
Well, you have that, you know what, fortunately, the new VCC system did much better control. The pneumatics are notoriously difficult to maintain and manage. But our goal is certainly that by the time we walk out of here, it's that.
Could you explain, how does it get turned off? Who turns it off?
It typically it's happening local at the unit events. It could be a student, it could be, sometimes if you're
It's
sitting next to-
accessible to?
It is accessible, typically you can get in there. Really, it could be anybody, and not necessarily maliciously. A lot of times it's just if the control valve were to close and you have a lower someone, you have then the air feels good as it's coming out. Sometimes people feel that maybe it's off, so they turn it off so they're not blowing cold air into the room, and it's just it's a common mistake. It's just part of a learning curve as we go through the new system to understand how it functions.
One thing I would like to do is acknowledge the custodial staff at each of the 9 buildings who've been extremely helpful, and extremely diligent in reporting back to us some of these nuances. And as we know, this isn't a complete rip and replace, it's a retrofit where we're overlaying new parts onto existing systems. So it can be, it will take the staff some time to get used to this complexity and the new system. And we really want to acknowledge those folks for bringing the issues to us quickly so that we can devise a plan to help mitigate them. So as we think about the project being the length of a football field, I mean, we're down inside the 20-yard line now, we're in the red zone. And so we've got, 10 or 15 more yards to go to get the entire project wrapped up. And through that last 15 yards that we're going to push over the next couple of months, it's going to be both an education process for the staff and the custodial staff, the facility staff, and then also making these tweaks and finalizing the system programming, because every building is almost its own entity and it kind of operates, even though we have a plan and a control sequence and all these engineering things, each building kind of lives and breathes on its own, and there are some nuances. And some of the staff and the folks are getting used to the new parts and pieces and the new programming, and so we did want to acknowledge them and thank them for their patience and actually giving us the feedback. We need to continue to push this last 15 yards and get into the end zone and finish the project.
And just to expand on the concept, it's very difficult with older buildings, the infrastructure, the piping and that kind of thing. It's older, it's old. And so now you're putting new on top of that. You're laying it on top. And sometimes the old piping and the old systems can't function real well with those. And it's not like building a new building wherever it is. So, we're dealing with those gremlins as well in the system.
We would have loved to have given you all new systems for all new buildings, but unfortunately, the House bill legislation makes us have to develop savings from it, and that can only pay for so much of the retrofit.
There are a lot of Browns fans here too, so we're not sure exactly what the red zone is.
Same thing.
End zone, which way? I think it's somewhere out in Vegas.
I think lastly, also expanding on something Mark touched on too, one of the advantages we do get with the new system and better controls, it can also, to a certain extent, smoke out some of the existing issues that may have been there before that were passed by a system that was kind of just running all along. So a lot of times when we do these new control systems, that helps us tweak and really allow the buildings to get some controls.
I thought it was funny, we'd get some complaints about certain buildings or certain rooms, and we hadn't addressed those rooms at all yet. So they were cussing out the new system, and the new system wasn't even in place yet. So sometimes, yeah, you do get the same problems.
Next slide here, slide 6, the window replacement update. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen the new windows. A lot of
The buildings look really great.
And it's funny, I was even talking to Tom, actually, just as this meeting was about to get kicked off. I kept some of the before pictures on the bottom line here. And I don't know if it's Woodland or Riverview on that right picture for the original compared to Woodland or Riverview picture you guys have on the top there. It really is nice. Yeah, it's really different. Really with these buildings, a lot of them are pretty much 90 to 95% complete. There's some trim, and we have a couple trim pieces that we need to reorder to get back in. There's some caulking. At Kimpton, there's a couple of windows that need to be, they've actually been replaced, but we need to order replacements for. They're going to be coming through in the next few weeks at that time. But overall, yeah, we've been really happy with how our windows look, and it is something that can very quickly So next steps for the House Bill 264 and House Bill 153 project. Our anticipated project completion is going to be the end of April 2016, and that will be all control systems completely up and running. Training will be going on at that point, getting and really kind of handing the keys over to the new system back to the district. Through successful competitive bidding, you guys recall when we first pitched this project to you guys, it's open book. So 100% of any buyout savings that we're had when we purchase material or went out for labor goes back to the district. And currently, where we stand today, we're still doing some final auditing on the numbers that should be complete by February 1st. We do stand under budget on the project. So that's always the goal anytime we do these under budget. Some of the partial stages that we need to be completed, I mentioned the windows, the trim, caulking, and I mentioned that key windows and replacement windows that are currently replaced, but we take those off. Complete energy management system, we talked about the high school came to the trail. Continue training and education on roof systems. District staff at Woodland, Riverview, Echo Hills, Highland, and Fish Creek. And as we mentioned, this is going to be ongoing as a new system. We like to do training on the front end and then some ongoing training because the more your staff gets to play around with the system and gets familiar with it, they're going to have more questions too. Some of the advanced strategies and some of the additional control that they're going to have with the new system. And then phase in the advanced control strategies, as I mentioned, rather than putting all of them in at once and then trying to troubleshoot. What we like to do is with each strategy, phase them in one at a time, so we can ensure that there's no bugs or no tweaks that we need to make in the program as we're moving forward on the system. So, lastly, the most successful projects we have are always when we have great plans and both the administration from the board, from the staff, maintenance staff, custodial staff. And we really wanted to take some time in our update day to specifically thank the district staff that we worked with, having our administration. In particular, Tom Bratton, Mark Fritz, Dave Osborne, and Jason Smith. I'm not sure if he's here tonight, but again, they've been fantastic to work with. Again, allowing us access to facilities, really working with Tom and with Mark, and reaching out to staff, even the teachers. There are updates that can be going on in the building. It's been fantastic so far working with you guys. Mark is our great point of contact. I wanted to comment and even Tom a couple times, even been after hours. I'll be able to get texts or give the call around and respond to things. We're going to get things taken care of. Both getting access to facilities, getting coordinating. Mark has provided actually, as we run our competitive bids, a number of different contractors that we've had experience with in the past. Fortunately, the more contractors you bring in, better competitive bids you get. We go out for material, we go out for labor, and actually a couple of them the market provided we've actually worked with, and it's been a fantastic relationship to date. We'd like to specifically thank you guys for that. Looking forward to finishing this out in the next few months, and I can't wait to come back and we'll give you guys an update when it's all said and done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now it is time for comments from the audience. This is the time where citizens have an opportunity to bring their concerns before the Board of Education. All comments should be directed to the board. When you address the board, please state your name and address. Individuals presenting concerns and/or questions to the board may not receive complete answers this same evening. The board will study and consider your concern and will either have a board member or a central office administrator contact you as soon as the information you require is available. Please refrain from any personal attacks. Each person is limited to 3 minutes. Does anyone have any comments? Please come forward. State your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Rich Burson, and my address is 38266 Mr. I actually live in West Ridgeville, Ohio. Now, I work for a company called MCPC, Imaging and Printing. And what we do is we work with institutions to help them get control of their reproduction costs. And when I talk about reproduction, I mean cost. well, in short, we're a managed print services organization, but that's not the reason why I'm here tonight. The reason why I came here tonight is I wanted to talk to you about the STEM curriculum. So we work with, throughout my travels, I work with a lot of superintendents and educators throughout Northeast Ohio that may be potentially struggling with how to engage teachers and students in the concept of 3D design and 3D printing. What I hear a lot is that they might already have these printers in place, but they don't have a structured curriculum to be able to teach this new technology effectively, or that they struggle to teach outside of the textbook. Some of the things that I hear most often when I talk to these people is that, hey, we might already have these printers, but what do we do? What do we do with them? How do we make something? How do we teach with them? But more importantly, how does it align with NGSS standards or the curriculum that the state of Ohio has handed down to us? Now, I don't know if this is a concern for the school district here in Stow Munroe Falls, but if it is, all I ask is for an opportunity to come back and talk to you at a later time to discuss your challenges and concerns and see if we might have a solution for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I get your, I suppose last name. Yes, B-U-R. That's all.
Okay, I got 32866.
38266.
2866.
Misty Meadow Trail.
This is okay, I have Steve. Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bratton, any comments on the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items B through E. Also, at this time, I would like to read the names and information donations listed in the consent agenda and personally thank these people for what they do for us and our students. Gifts, Lisa Kleintop donated $25 to Kempton Middle School Choir. Stephen and Kathleen Schmidt donated $10 to the Kempton Middle School Orchestra. And Stowe Excellence in Education Foundation, SEEF, donated $2,111.80 to Kempton Middle School to purchase 4 iPads for Jack Rice Classroom.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Second? Discussion?
Mrs. Bowers.
Aye.
Mr. Cobb.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
Mr. Toppin.
Aye.
Mrs. Betty.
Aye.
For the treasurer's recommendation, I'll hand it over to Mr. Osborne.
I'd like to recommend that approve financial reports. You see these from November 15, because of the timing of the early meeting in December. They weren't ready. And of course, this is an early meeting in January, so December's aren't ready. I know it might be a little different. Three members asking you to vote for reports that you weren't on board. Trust me, they're good. The book's balanced, so I would ask that you approve that report.
Okay, I'll ask the board for the approval for the financial report for November 2015. Second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Bacott?
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews?
Aye.
Mr. Toppin?
Aye.
Mrs. Bedio?
Aye.
And Mrs. Johnson Powers.
Aye.
I'd also like to recommend that you approve the check register. This is also from November. And that's exhibit 4.
I'd like a motion to approve the check register for November 2015.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Matthews?
Aye.
Mr. Toppin?
Aye.
Mrs. Bedio?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Bacott?
Aye.
Okay, the last item I have
This is a required item from the Summit County Fiscal Office. It's called the alternative tax budget, and it's not a budget in terms of what we normally think of a budget, which is an itemized list. This is a very general document, and the basic purpose of the document is to show the need for our taxes in the general fund and the PI fund. And this document that I prepared, it very closely follows the 5-year forecast. And in the 5-year forecast that was approved in October, it was noted that this year was the first year where expenses would exceed revenues. So that made it very easy in this document to show that we need our tax money. And that's the whole purpose of it as far as the Budget Commission is concerned, that you must show that you need your taxes. There's a list of all the other funds are in the document, but that's only for informational purposes. And whatever numbers that I would put in there, the Budget Commission will return those exact same numbers back to us. And then there's a debt schedule that's also in there that you would have seen. And again, that's for informational purposes only. Sometimes if you go into debt, the auditor will take the money out of your proceeds and put it into a debt retirement fund. So this is kind of a remnant of the old days, or if you have that kind of loan. We do have debt, but our debt is all, we receive the money into the appropriate fund, either PI or general, and we pay it out of that. The key thing in this document is it does what's absolutely necessary, and it shows the need of the district to have all the tax levies that are on records. And based on that, I'd recommend that you approve the alternative tax budget.
May I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2017 alternative tax budget?
So moved.
May I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Toppin?
Aye.
Mrs. Bedio?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mrs. Mann?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the superintendent's recommendations. Mr. Brown.
Letter A, recognition of school board members. January is School Board Recognition Month in Ohio. I have a proclamation to read at the meeting along with gifts to recognize your contributions. See, you only have to be here one meeting for 3 of you.
Not fair.
That's very nice. The proclamation reads, whereas it shall be the mission of the Stow Munroe Falls City School District to provide all students with the best possible education, and whereas the school board sets the direction for our community's public schools by envisioning the community's education future, and whereas the school board sets policies and procedures to govern all aspects of school district operation, the school board keeps attention focused on progress toward the school district goals and maintains a two-way communications loop with all segments of the community, and whereas serving on a school board requires an unselfish devotion of time and service to carry on the mission and business of the school district. Whereas the school board must respond on behalf of the community to the educational needs of students. And whereas the school board voluntarily accepts the above-mentioned responsibilities. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Superintendent Tom Bratton, do hereby proclaim January 2016 as School Board Recognition Month in Stow and Munroe Falls. I encourage all citizens to publicly and privately thank the school board members from all school districts serving the community for their dedicated service to our children. Signed this date by congratulations. Thank you. time, ask the board to approve the school calendars that have been available for your review, 2016-17, 17-18, and 18-19.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The benefit of the change in the school calendar are, I see that high school will have exams at holiday break.
Before the holiday break, right?
Right before.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic change. And it will be a change, you know.
Yes,
But I
absolutely.
think after the first year, I think it's going to be amazing, an amazing change for that.
And just to piggyback on that, people said, you know, the second semester is 10 days longer than the first. Well, it will work itself out between calamity days and testing days that people miss because all those things happen in the second semester. They'll even themselves out pretty quickly. And it's a nice opportunity to not let students be stressing over exams while they're over the holidays and then come back for 1 week and then jump right over the final
Or
exam.
forgetting
It's
about
the parents that stress about my children.
Yes, right,
Parents
right.
that stress.
Yeah, probably right.
Right.
So a lot of good scenarios there, and we're continuing, I think, optimistic on finding ways to, address some of the bullying situations that we've been looking at for the last 6 months.
that was my other point I was going
Yeah.
to bring up, is
Um,
that you're aware of that.
Right, absolutely. And we're working on it very close. I mean, no, are we putting in air conditioning? No, that's not what we're doing. We're looking at making it bearable. And, people need to keep in mind that this year, for example, the hot weather didn't even hit until September 6th. So it wouldn't have mattered when we started school. So, but we are looking at that, and we're very aware of that situation. It's not good for the kids or teachers to be in 90-degree classrooms. There's not much going on in the classroom by either when that happens. So we're looking to address that.
It's going to be a change, and I hope the parents realize that the kids are starting early and getting out
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
We're getting out of it.
Yeah.
It's
You
really
know?
good. That is
So
awesome.
that'll be a real change.
Right.
The first year will be.
Yeah, and this also puts us in line with the 6th district compact, starting at the same time as the rest of the school districts in the 6th district compact for career tech. So we're not running our buses separately for only those students, and it added additional expense to the district to do that. We also lose out on weighted funding for those weeks starting later. So that's also a financial thing as well. This was driven more by students because the finances aren't that great that it matters that much. It was definitely driven by what we felt was best for students.
Roll call?
Mrs. Bedio?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers?
Aye.
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews?
I,
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Are there any old business items to be discussed? First meeting, so I suppose not. Are there any new business items to be addressed? Is there need for executive session? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Johnson Bowers? Mr. Rocott?
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews?
I.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Mrs. Bedio?
Aye.
We were quick on that, yeah.
I know.
Oh, my God, I like